Welcome to another episode of The Dissection. Floyd Shivambu, the Secretary General of the mkhonto weSizwe party, made a big mistake over the weekend. He made a phenomenal blunder. He made a mistake that undermined his credibility and undermined the reputation and prospects of his political party of choice, the mkhonto weSizwe party. Mr. Shivambu attended a service in Malawi with the notorious Pastor Shepherd Bushiri. Shepherd Bushiri claims he can walk on water. He claims he can do a whole bunch of things. He is even not walk on water. He claims he can walk on air. I don't know if you've seen the video where he shows himself walking down steps. Then the camera zooms in to his feet. His hands are in the air, shaking them like he just don't care. And then before you know it, the man is walking on air. Hey, Bushiri, you know Bushiri and his prolific advertisement of miracles and the fact that he can do miracles, and then the miracles that he says he can do or that he claims he can do. His miracle is saying, yeah, there's something in your fridge. I see a half-sliced tomato in your fridge. Yes, Papa, I see some mayonnaise in your fridge. Yes, Papa. Is it Nola mayonnaise? Yes, Papa. Koti, Papa, the Nola mayonnaise in my eyes. Sugar. There's scriptures about false prophets. I don't have time. I'm not a pastor. I'm not going to look at them. But I can tell you right now, I am highly skeptical of the brand of Christianity that Shepherd Bushiri says that he is a pastor of. Anyway, Floyd Shivambu, in the cloud of controversy that circulates this particular man, Shepherd Bushiri, who I won't be calling Pastor Shepherd Bushiri going forward. I just call him Shepherd Bushiri because I don't know his pastor status. I don't have evangelical credentials to check, but I'll just call him Shepherd Bushiri to be safe. Floyd Shivambu attended a service in Malawi with this notorious pastor. This is what went down. This is how it went down. Bangena, naile walk.
And this evening, we're also privileged to worship together with one of the great and wonderful man I know who loves Africa and support African affairs, religion, and more especially
me, Bushiri.
He loves God, and he is also a businessman, a politician, a family man, and tonight he is with us. I'd like to recognize your presence. This is a wonderful man, Floyd Shivambu, all the way from South Africa.
Hey, they are clapping. They are surprised.
Allow me just
the one and only
to ask you to wave the church.
Floyd. Kwaza, hey, you're so happy, man. You're so happy to be in that leather seat.
Thank you for being here and praying together. We had a wonderful, fruitful conversations area to discuss different affairs and different things. You know, we have people who have different ideologies in different things. We have people who believe if you're a white person, you are an investor. And if you're a black person, you are corrupt.
I don't think that's why they think you're corrupt, huh?
Men like Floyd believe in supporting Africans, encouraging people who are doing well, supporting them. And I'm so happy to have wonderful men like him.
All the way in Malawi.
In South Africa and in Africa.
No. The optics of this are horrible and ill-advised. Let's be clear. Firstly, Shepherd Bushiri is a fugitive from the law. What Floyd Shivambu has done is equivalent to him going to meet Thabo Bester if Thabo Bester had successfully fled to Tanzania. Not only did this Shepherd Bushiri character flee South Africa, he did so in a notorious manner bigger than the one and only Christopher Wallace. That's what he did. Shepherd Bushiri fled South Africa by allegedly being smuggled out with the help of a sophisticated operation which involved Malawian intelligence, Malawian embassy officials. He and his wife were allegedly issued diplomatic passports with fake names and actually even underwent small cosmetic surgeries and facial changes before being driven from their home in Centurion to the Air Force base in Waterkloof. Then they left on a jet which was hired by Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera, which coincided with the president's official visit to South Africa. I don't know how this man got all of these powerful political connections, but he clearly has them. I don't know if it's true that he changed his, the cosmetic facial changes, whatever. I don't think it was surgery. Maybe it was makeup or wearing a mask or whatever the case it was at the time. But that's what they're saying, that he escaped in the plane of the president Lazarus Chakwera of Malawi. And this escape clearly violated the bail conditions because he was out on bail and he was strictly forbidden from leaving South Africa, and yet he did so anyway in the presidential plane. So not only did Shepherd Bushiri flee the arms of the law, he's accused of multiple serious crimes, including the following: rape. He is facing multiple charges of rape involving several victims, including underage girls, with allegations that victims were intimidated or paid off to recant their testimonies prior to the case being opened. He is accused of fraud and money laundering. He and his wife are accused of defrauding about 102 million South African rand, which is approximately 6.6 million US dollars, through theft, fraud, and money laundering schemes in South Africa. Other allegations include the use of fraudulent residency permits, involvement in dubious investment schemes. That's what he's calling. He's saying, nah, I'm not corrupt, I'm an investor. If it's a white person, it's not corruption, it's investment. If it's a Bushiri, it's, I don't know, Bushiri. I don't know if there was holy water poured on the activities that you're participating in, but I know you cannot walk on air. I know that. If you can walk on air, let's go live. And then you walk on air, Baba. This guy, he claims he can walk on air more than Michael Jordan, the one and only Air Jordan. Michael Jordan is the only man we have seen walk on air. Even Jesus didn't be walking on air out here. So I don't know, this guy walking on air, it's like he was trying to do more than Jesus even. Anyway, he and his wife have currently been ordered by a Malawi court to be extradited to South Africa to face these serious charges. Now, why was it a mistake for Floyd Shivambu to do any and all of these things this particular Easter weekend? Number one, the association and endorsement of such a dubious character is one that first and foremost creates an impression that you are birds of the same feather. Hence, you flock together. If you are trying to say, I'm not corrupt, if you're trying to say, I'm not a shady character, if you're trying to say, I'm not involved in dodgy dealings, the worst person to be interacting with, chilling with, to be doing a prayer session with is Shepherd Bushiri at this particular point. Because even though everyone is innocent till proven guilty, that much is a given. A person who absconds from justice is somebody who has already prima facie committed some version of a crime and a dubious exit at that. It's like, why is he running away if he has nothing to hide? And this is the person that you associate and endorse. I mean, the brand alignment is horrible. The brand alignment is in and of itself a mistake, Mr. Shivambu. And this is why I think people are responding the way that they are, because the association and endorsement of such a dubious character is in and of itself a dubious decision. Number two, the public association with Bushiri also creates an impression that Mr. Shivambu is not taking the South African criminal justice process seriously, and that he's not taking the allegations in and of themselves seriously. You know, when you think about issues such as GBV, when you think about the implications, we just saw that Eastern Cape pastor from Nigeria, where there have been serious allegations, and the public definitely concerned about the manner in which he was conducting his affairs. To go and associate with the pastor who is implicated in similar allegations at such a time when the sensitivities are so high with the Omosoto matter is in and of itself something that seems to say you do not take seriously the South African criminal justice process. And the fact that prosecutors have said they have a prima facie case against this man and that they think that this man has committed several serious acts of criminality. So that in and of itself makes it a mistake. The third reason why it's a mistake, I think we have to think of an example, an international example. I'm going to submit it to you now for your consideration. The association creates the impression that Mr. Shivambu practices bad judgment. Think about the example of Jeremiah Wright, the US preacher. When Jeremiah Wright, who used to be Barack Obama's pastor, was revealed to have said some things which were divisive and hypercritical of America, Barack Obama created some distance between himself and the pastor. He stopped going to the church. He wrote some articles. He gave some speeches around it being a teachable moment and trying to understand the different perspectives, but bringing Americans together. He took time to discuss the material differences he had with the teachings of the pastor, and he stopped attending. This was a strategic decision that he had to make to advance his political prospects. So at this particular point, we contrast the decision that Floyd Shivambu made with the decision that another politician, Barack Obama, made. When Barack Obama noticed and acknowledged that Jeremiah Wright's brand was toxic, he distanced himself. However, when Floyd Shivambu knew and had reason to know that Bushiri's brand was toxic, he went and stood in solidarity with him, calls him his brother. Floyd Shivambu has so many brothers. I don't know how many brothers. This guy has more brothers than Joseph did. More brothers than Joseph. And his descriptions of his brothers, at some point, Julius Malema was his brother. That's my brother. Then at some point it was, no, gangsterism, this brotherhood, there's gangsterism. Chigi, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is your brother Ndlozi. Right, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi went to Malawi and castigated Bushiri, attacked him, whipped him in front of the Malawian audience, and said some things about Bushiri which were quite incriminating, damning, and implicated that he was a false pastor, false prophet. Not a few days later, you then go and contradict your brother and associate with what kind of brotherhood is this type of brotherhood? I'm a brotherhood, Floyd. I know Cain and Abel in them. I don't know who's Caining, I don't know who's Abeling, but it's a Cain and Abel type of arrangement, because one day you are brother, next day you are gangster, one day your other brother is saying this other stuff. Now you are going to contradict your brother. Anyway, it's a brotherhood thing. It's a brotherhood thing. He can explain his brotherhood. Guys, I'm not attacking him. I'm being fair based on what he has said. He said, this guy is my brother. Then he said the other thing about his brother. He said, Ndlozi is my brother. Your brother went and attacked this guy. Now you calling Bushiri your brother. Which one is your brother? What kind of brotherhood is this? What is this brotherhood? Guys, if you understand Floyd's brotherhood in the comments, let me know. Do you think I'm being too harsh? Do you think I'm being too harsh on Floyd? Or do you really think that this was a catastrophic blunder? I think it was. I think number 4, that this has opened the door for damaging speculation around whether there was a financial contribution made to Mr. Shivambu, or whether there's a financial relationship between himself and Mr. Bushiri, who we can understand is seeking to create some relationships with politicians in South Africa because he has serious legal problems. And now people are speculating. That's what makes this move a mistake. Because even if there is no relationship, the speculation is happening. You can just go on social media and you can see the speculation is rife. And the speculation is not unreasonable because people are trying to understand, why would you associate with this character at this time? The 5th reason why this was a mistake is because this has taken away attention from the strong election result that mkhonto weSizwe party got in KwaZulu-Natal. The MK party did something amazing during the week, something that was so significant that it got Helen Zille to tweet furiously and look for someone to blame. She was blaming Action SA, right? Because MK party won a significant by-election. They won a by-election in KwaZulu-Natal in Ward 110. This ward is very close to Umhlanga, and it's an affluent area of Durban in what would be considered to be a Democratic Alliance stronghold. And that Democratic Alliance stronghold falls to mkhonto weSizwe. So mkhonto weSizwe goes Gwaza there in Ward 110. Gwaza Mhlanga, Gwaza Mhlanga, Gwaza Mhlanga, Gwaza mkhonto. That's what they do. In the week that mkhonto weSizwe has this amazing moment, Floyd Shivambu muddles it for the party and takes away the conversation, the attention, and the momentum from that moment to a moment where people are saying, what is he doing? What is going on? Right? This result was so annoying to the DA because they are trying to push a narrative that they are now more popular than the ANC nationally and that they have up to 30% of the support nationally. Part of that narrative also says that the MK party is losing popularity. We've seen a poll from the Institute of Race Relations coming out saying that, DA is now over 30%. DA is now the largest political party in terms of support in South Africa. This poll should be taken with a pinch of salt and a bottle of vinegar, to be quite honest, because Helen Zille herself has been a member of the Institute of Race Relations, and also the poll did not provide enough information about the demographic representativeness of the poll, and also their sample size is not the industry standard. YouGov, which is an international polling agency, does polls frequently, and they often have sample sizes of over 3,000 people. It's known or established that at least 1,000 people is what you need. A robocall where you're just sending, those robocalls that are always calling us, a sample of 800 people. It's not necessarily a representative sample. Their methodology was not fully published. Their methodology was not peer-reviewed. And as a result, I think you have to take that poll with a pinch of salt and a bottle of vinegar. Get your salt and vinegar chips, in fact, when you read that poll. And be mindful that polls can be an instrument of manufacturing consent. In any event, a poll is not stronger than an election result. It's theory versus reality. To become a party of 30%, the DA has to grow somewhere. And that somewhere has to include KwaZulu-Natal because it's the most populous province after Gauteng. And the DA has peaked in the Western Cape, and they're not likely to grow in the Eastern Cape. They're not likely to grow in Limpopo. Those are ANC strongholds, right? So, and then the other provinces are just small in size, also not likely to grow much in Mpumalanga. So, if MK is beating you in the suburbs, in the burbs of Durban, it's unlikely that you are approaching 30%. It may very well be that MK is the one approaching 20%. That could be the reality. So this is why Helen Zille was looking for people to blame, because this actual result confounds the narrative that they are pushing. And in that week where Ward 110 is the topic of conversation, Floyd does this, takes away attention from this, shows liabilities and vulnerabilities that could be used by rivals of the party, whether it's the EFF or anybody else, because the EFF, ANC, whatever, they can attack MK and Gwaza MK with this narrative. Bakushaya ngendugu zakho. Although this is not Ndugu, it's I don't know what we can compare it to because it's a blunder, it's not Ndugu per se. But you get what I'm trying to say. So the Ministry of Justice has already issued a statement on this, and they have condemned Floyd Shivambu's association with the fugitive. These are their words, Shepherd Bushiri. This is what the statement says. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mamuloko Kubai, has strongly condemned Mr. Shivambu's conduct, describing his association with Mr. Bushiri as a blatant act of disrespect towards South Africa's legal system. The minister cautioned that such behavior by a political leader not only undermines the credibility of the judiciary, but also diminishes the gravity of the charges against Mr. Bushiri, sending a dangerous message to the public and victims of crime. Mr. Shivambu's actions erode public trust in the justice system and embolden those that believe they can escape accountability, said the minister. No one, regardless of status or position, is above the law. Unless they have cash in their sofas, above the law. I hate it when politicians say this type of stuff, knowing that they've got, Kumbuzo Javedi, a judge said that she had to explain how she approved a tender from someone who had not submitted a bid when she was the municipal manager. The judge referred the matter to the NPA. The judge was like, this is so heinous, I'm referring it myself to the NPA. Nothing has been done. No one is above the law. Kubai. Anyway, and we all know what happened with people around, Royal Park, all of these kind of scandals. Some people are above the law. Some people, if you're selling buffalo, you're above the law. Anyway, let me go back. Let me focus. This is what she said. No one, regardless of status or position, is above the law. Political leaders have a responsibility to uphold the rule of law, not to fraternize with fugitives. Do not fraternize with fugitives, right? Let's assume everything that was said is being said genuinely. These are strong statements. As a party represented in the Parliament of South Africa, the mkhonto weSizwe Party has a duty to uphold justice and respect the integrity of South Africa's legal process. The MK Party has also distanced themselves. They also issued a statement. This is what the MK Party said. The mkhonto weSizwe Party wishes to categorically distance itself from the recent visit by our Secretary General to the Enlightened Christian Gathering, ECG Church, led by self-proclaimed prophet Shepherd Bushiri in Malawi. The party wishes to make it unequivocally clear that this visit was not sanctioned, endorsed, or initiated by the leadership or any official structure of the MK Party. The Secretary General undertook this visit in his personal capacity and without the mandate and knowledge of the party. They're saying, Asiz tina la, kule umpeto. You want us to explain meanders? We cannot explain meanders. The mkhonto weSizwe Party upholds the rule of law and maintains zero tolerance stance on criminality in all its forms. When, in an unprecedented case, President Zuma was sent to prison without trial under Roman Dutch law, he did not flee from justice, but was incarcerated and served his time, even though it was a miscarriage of justice and a violation of his human rights. We remain firmly opposed. What am I saying? We remain firmly opposed to any association with individuals who are fugitives from justice. Our values are rooted in integrity, justice, and accountability, and we reject any actions that compromise the reputation and ethical standing of our movement. Furthermore, the MK Party strongly condemns all forms of gender-based violence and the exploitation of vulnerable communities, especially innocent Christian believers, by individuals who manipulate faith or personal enrichment or to evade justice. Our party stands with the victims of such exploitation and will never align itself with those who use religion as a shield to defraud, abuse, or mislead the public. We reiterate our commitment to ethical leadership and the principles of justice, and we call on all members and representatives of the MK Party to act in a manner that reflects the highest standards of responsibility and accountability. The MK Party is saying, we're not involved in this. But the stature of Floyd Shivambu is such that within your party, you brought him in. He was praised by Zuma. He was acknowledged by Zuma as a great leader, etc., etc. So your Secretary General, CEO of the organization, goes to Bushiri in Malawi, buys a ticket, flies to Malawi, VIP to Bushiri. Tandaza no Bushiri. Even though you distance yourself, I think the damage has been done to some extent because the public is not necessarily all going to see. So it's not Stephen A. says, Charlemagne the God likes to say, nobody cares about the truth when the lie is more entertaining. And the truth in and of itself, in instances like this, has shorter legs than the scandal. The truth has shorter legs than the scandal. As things stand, more people have seen the clip that I just played you than have seen the statement from the mkhonto weSizwe Party. I think damage has been done here. Damage has been done, which is why it's such a blunder from Floyd. And at a personal level, in his own political strategy, he has given ammunition to his critics within the MK Party. The critics who have said that he's a liability to the party and that he cannot be trusted. People are saying Tutu Zuma was right about him. Another reason why this is a mistake. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this? Do you think it's his personal business? It doesn't matter. It doesn't have an impact on the MK Party? Are there any Gwazists here? Are there any MK members? Let's have a conversation. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I just want to say one thing in closing. Can we talk about this relationship between politicians and the church? Just broadly, just briefly. During this Easter period, it was quite intriguing to see how many politicians profess the faith. I saw some carrying the cross. I saw many in different houses of faith across South Africa. And what stuck in my mind was this question. If all these men and women are leading and living like servants in the example of Jesus Christ, then who's looting the money? Who's looting all the money? Who is looting the money? If they are all leading and living like servants in the example of Christ, who chaunched the chaunch? Who chaunched the chaunch? Can you explain that to me? If all these men and women are stewards, like Joseph was, and if they're excellent in service like Daniel was. Remember Joseph, every job he got, everybody just said, I don't even have to worry anymore. Joseph's got it. Joseph's on the job. He was so trusted. His stewardship levels were so high that if he was on the job, you didn't even have to worry. So if all these men and women are stewards like Joseph, why are there so many potholes, so many issues with service delivery, so many issues with quality of service? If all of them during Easter, so Christian. I actually think that the church and the Christian community has made access to their podiums and congregations too cheap for politicians. I think that the church and the congregations have made approval from the Christian community too cheap for these politicians. It seems like it's enough for them just to wear the t-shirt every now and again, even though on a day-to-day basis, 6 days of the 7, they can be found implicated in a variety of compromising leadership decisions, service performances. Surely the church has to do much better. The church has clapped hands for dictators in Africa. The church has welcomed skebengas into the congregations, known skebengas. Of course, the faith is about forgiveness. The faith is about, allowing people to grow and all of that. But the people who repented to Jesus, that one tax collector, he had to give up half of his money. That's how compelled he felt in his heart. Wasn't that what happened? When Ananias and Sapphira stole the money, God struck them dead. They were struck dead. The impetus of that story is that you can't be in the church stealing. You can't be in the church delivering poor service. You can't be misgoverning, misappropriating, mismanaging, and then come and say, yes, bazalwane. In fact, abazalwane should be the first people to say, get the hell out of here. That's what I think. I don't know what you think. I think that the church has made access to their podiums and congregations too cheap. I think that these people, they can attend church events, pretend to have a shared zeal for the values and the Christian lifestyle, but then they go into the week to chase slay queens and tenders, and nobody in the church holds them accountable after that. It's not about judgment. God is the one who will judge in the final day. It's not about that, but there has to be some discernment. Church speaks about you can't have people in the eldership of the church who have all funny types of behavior. You can't have them. It's in the book. I'm not a biblical scholar like that, so I can't tell you this verse, that verse. But it's in the book that you can't just have a skebenga pastor. So why should these politicians who chase slay queens and tenders during the week come on a Sunday, on an Easter Sunday when the Lord is risen, and then claim to be authentic practitioners? I don't know. Is it too judgmental? Too hard for TV? Let me know. Let's talk in the comments. Till the next one.